she's going to watch him not just lose weight, because I'll be honest with you, a woman watching a guy lose weight, she doesn't give a all right. Today we're going to talk about how to get out of our comfort zone and do what's better for us rather than doing what's easy and simple and giving us not what we want. Hello, Wellness Warriors. Welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition. I'm Violet.
And I'm Pat. So the idea for this video came in a comment that I read this morning, where one of our viewer was talking that he was doing good on keto. His wife was doing okay too with the meals, but she always stick to eating watermelon at night, probably before going to bed as a snack.
So the funny thing that comes to me is whether or not she's actually doing good on the meals. And what I mean by that is, when you're cooking for me, I don't care what you put in front of me. If you put something in front of me, even if there's carbs on the plate, I just eat around the carbs if I don't feel like eating them today. But like in terms of me doing good, like, so if I wanted to eat rice but there was no rice on the plate, I'd eat whatever you put there. I just wouldn't have rice that day. So there's a part of me that wonders, is it that she's doing well, or is it just that she's cooking this way because you're eating this way and then she's still eating whatever?
The thing that you like, the thing that makes you feel safe and comfortable, like how do we balance knowing that's not good for your health versus like having something that makes you feel good, for example? And
well, I'm saying though, step one is, do we even know that she knows that it's not good for, like, or is she just doing what she's always done? Like, so I'm cooking this way because you asked me to, and then I'm going to eat whatever afterwards, right? In this particular case, it's watermelon. Maybe another day it's going to be mango. Maybe another day it's going to be cookies. Like, how do we know? So there's a question mark in my mind. Like, so this, I mean, I'm not sure. I didn't read the comment. So I feel like right now I don't have enough information, right? Is this about stepping out of your comfort zone? Well, actually, it sounds like she does step out of her comfort zone because she's making keto-friendly food for him, and she's eating it.
No, I think he's cooking for her.
Oh, excuse me. He's making keto-friendly food, and she's. So again, that's replicating my story that I just said. That if whatever you put in front of me, even before we did keto, whatever you put in front of me, I ate it.
Well, but in that situation, let's reverse that. Let's say I see you progress, like in keto, you're losing weight, your health getting better, and like I jump in that wagon with you, but somehow like I can't let go of something. I can't let go of that watermelon that that I like.
That was also our story, right? At the very beginning, where you were still buying bread and you were still right, and the berries and all that stuff. And so like the comfort part of that. So like if that's really the story, so let's go there, because like again, my first part was, how do we know that's the story? Maybe she just is doing that because that's what's in front of her. But now let's say that I actually know that the watermelon isn't good for me, but I'm still eating it, which is a different story. So now my next thing to you would be to ask, okay, the watermelon that you're eating, you're having it just before bed instead of having it at the end of your meal. Can you explain that part to me? Right? So there might be a comfort thing of, before I go to bed, I need to eat because, and maybe there's some idea there that I won't make it through the night. I'm going to be hungry, for example. Or is this just part of my routine of the evening that before I go to bed, I have a snack? Again, a possible example. And the question becomes, well, if we're going to have the watermelon, can we put it at a healthier point in the day? Like at the edge of your meal? Now, what's that going to give us? It's going to, first of all, break that bad routine of eating something sweet before bed. But it's going to do the second thing of, well, if I just eaten a healthy meal, I'm not going to be as hungry than if I'm how many hours later and I'm just in this mindset of it's time to eat again. So I'm probably going to eat less of the watermelon.
So somehow, like, I feel like for a lot of those situations, it's not it has nothing to do with the food itself than the habit, like you said. So we know we need to break a habit, but once we obviously recognize it's a bad habit, it's like if you don't assume or you don't like recognize this habit as bad or that you need to change it, you're not going to change it. It's like the first step of the AA, I think.
I think the other thing to add to what you just said, because this is a good point, is like, what about I still eat the thing before bed, but I change what it is I'm eating, or I drink something instead of eating something, which would probably be what I would suggest. So instead of eating something, drink some bubbly water, drink some coffee. Well, either decaf coffee or decaf tea. Like drink something instead of eat something to kind of break the habit that I eat before bed. That could be another way to do it. But part one is this: it's recognizing that I'm doing something that I don't necessarily need to be doing, so that I'm doing something out of habit, and that this habit is causing a problem for me.
I think now I'm gonna tackle your psychologist mind. I do recognize, like even in myself, like recognize some kind of autopilot behavior that's like there. You like whatever the food, whatever, it's just like at a certain timing or in a certain situation, or maybe something bad like happen and you need the comfort food. Like there's some like where your rational mind like is put aside and you just like rely on emotions. Like how do we tackle that?
I've used myself as the example. Like at some point I started to notice that when I was bored in the later part of the day, if there were nuts in the house, I would go get them.
Okay.
So what was my action at that point? Well, while I'm rational and realizing that the only reason I'm eating these nuts is because I'm bored, I take a decision. So I stop buying nuts. Why? Because while I'm rational, so when I'm shopping, I'm rational. And I know that I don't need to buy nuts. And I feel like this is the thing we don't do for ourselves, is that in that moment of desperation, yeah, I might turn around and eat the stupid thing. But if I know that there's a possibility that I do that, I create the story where Violet behaves the way she wants to behave rather than behaving the poor way. When I was doing standard American diet, I made a rule for myself that said, if I buy it for Kyler, my daughter, I'm not allowed to eat it. And honestly, as long as she didn't give it back to me, I never touched it. So if she offered me some, I'd be like, damn it, why are you doing that? I'm also lucky she doesn't like the same stuff as me. So a lot of the time I could just get away with buying stuff that I know she likes that I don't.
That you don't. Okay. No.
But even when it was chocolate, even when it was like, I mean, honestly, you knew me back before I started doing keto. How many chocolate bunnies that I bought her for Easter did I throw away?
Yeah.
Right? I could have eaten them.
Because
I love chocolate, but it was labeled Kyler. And as long as she didn't give it to me, the option was she eats it or it goes in the garbage. And I actually followed through that. So there are multiple ways to do this. In the beginning, what I did was made rules for me.
Okay.
And those rules still apply today. If I buy peanuts, those are for Kyler. I don't buy peanuts for me. So therefore, I don't eat them, even if they're there, even though I like peanuts. But if I buy cashews, damn it, those are for me. So this is why I don't eat them. I don't buy them because if I buy them, I'm going to eat them. If I buy pecans, again, those are for me. If I buy them, I'm going to eat them.
Okay.
So this is a way that we can help ourselves by either creating new rules and new rules that I plan to follow. Or make sure that it doesn't exist. I can't eat something that's just not there. Okay. And especially if the cravings are happening just before she goes to bed, the stores are closed.
Yeah. First of all, you realize like you were eating nuts when you were bored. You stop buying the nuts, but you're the kind of person that when you set a rule for yourself, like it's kind of clear.
I didn't start there.
But
do you remember where I started?
No.
Okay, so I didn't start there. I ended up there. I started with, okay, if I buy nuts that are ready to eat, I'm going to eat them. I started with buying raw nuts that I would have to bake first before I could eat them.
Oh, okay.
But then I just found myself doing it.
Okay.
Right? So then I was actually doing it, and I'm like, okay, this is not working the way I wanted to because I'm kind of lazy. And I just figured I'm so lazy that I wouldn't do it like often. But it turns out it's really easy to bake nuts, by the way. It's not as hard as you thought. I thought it was going to be. So.
But when you have a craving and you need it right now, it's just enough
It really
work,
is easy.
But it's not. It's enough.
No,
work, so
really, it really is too easy.
Okay.
If it was a little bit harder, probably that would have worked.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's really too easy. Like seriously, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Like I can wait 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes, by the way. It's like seriously, it's like 30 seconds. Like the baking process is really short.
Because that's where I wanted to go. Like once your craving kicks in and you don't have the object you're used to have, let's keep the watermelon example. I'm just thinking, like, for example, if that woman stops buying watermelon, what if she goes with the nuts instead? Like, she replace like her habits with.
It might not even be nuts. It might be cookies.
It might be cookies.
So this is okay. So this
is keto. I doubt it could be cookies, but like.
Why? Yeah. When I was keto, you were eating cookies.
At the beginning, yeah. Maybe.
So like that's the thing is like I still don't know 100% if this is a person who's trying to do keto, or if this is a person who's just eating whatever husband makes. Right? Like we watched the whole program about somebody like that, right? Eating whatever husband put in front of her. but wasn't really committed until way later. So it might be that this person just isn't committed. However, if she's committed, what she's going to notice is that when the watermelon isn't there, so, and this is the good part, when the watermelon isn't there, and now you notice yourself kind of like, oh, and you're going to start to realize, I actually am addicted. And that's important, right? Like we need to get to the part where we confront ourselves on the fact that I actually am addicted. And if we don't let ourselves get to that part, then we're going to keep playing this game with ourselves where we kind of pretend like it's not what it is, and it's always what it is.
As long as you don't make the decision for yourself to not touch that, because I'm thinking like you were just saying, oh, maybe she eats like just what like her husband puts in front of her. Like you're just surfing on on somebody else's decision, like to be healthy. Basically, it's not your own decision.
Like even if you look at our beginning, right? Like I was doing it. Every time we were together, you were cooking appropriately. You didn't put things in front of me that were too tempting. And I was also able to say no because I did my 2 weeks straight and I was good. But the truth is that there were months, because it took 3 months before you started. So that's 3 months of us eating together, and you were surfing on my good behavior. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And on the days that we were together, you ate keto. Yeah. Or keto-ish.
Keto-ish, yeah.
But on the days that we were not together, you ate normal until you took a decision. Yeah. So she needs to take a decision. It's not just about eating what he's eating, because guess what? I mean, I don't know if they're working in different places now because they might both be working from home in the moment. Yeah. But every time she's going to leave the house, she's not pushed to eat this way because it's not her thing, it's his thing. When it becomes her thing, she'll probably be more willing to do it.
Can you help her? Like, how could one spouse help, like, the other spouse? No, but I don't know, like, yeah.
Honestly, it's hard to help, right? And here's what I'm going to point out something to you. And I'm going to use myself as the example, because do you remember how many times you're like, Violet, call the nutritionist. Violet, don't just, Violet, the nutritionist is going to help you. And honestly, I didn't want to hear it. I like, don't tell me how to eat. Don't tell me. I didn't want to hear it. Right now, the nutritionist wouldn't have helped me in the end.
No, yeah.
But the thing is, is that no matter how much you thought you had an answer for me, until your answer matched what I wanted to hear, I wasn't able to move. Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like when I was doing keto and I was telling you all kinds of stuff, but what I was learning, blah, 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 and I was sharing and you couldn't care less. When you went home, you were eating your stuff. Yeah. You couldn't care less. It was only really when you saw the results that I was getting that it kind of changed your mind. So like, I do feel that one thing that he can do that's going to help her, stay keto.
Yeah. Just preach by
Because
example.
if he's able to keep strong and stay keto, she's going to watch him not just lose weight, because I'll be honest with you, a woman watching a guy lose weight, she doesn't care. Because men can lose weight and then they just put it back on, right? And like we see men do this so easily because you've got so much more muscle than we do. She's going to care, not when he loses the weight, when he doesn't put it back. And I can be honest with you, had this been reversed and you would have lost the weight first, I wouldn't have thought nothing of it. Because the truth is, I know you can lose weight. You're a man, right? Just don't eat the stuff and go for a walk. Boom, you lost weight, right? That's not what would have got me. It would have been like 2 years later, you're still thin. 3 years later, you're still thin. That's what would have got me to have been like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah. He didn't put it back.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what's going to help her. If you stay keto, the only way you can actually help her is to just stay keto. And not only you're not going to put back the weight, you're going to stronger, you're going to sleep better, you're going to be like not complaining about metabolic things or joint things or whatever. Like all of the things that you're going to start be able to, you're going to be running around with the grandkids or the kids or the grandkids, whatever. Like all the things that you're going to be able to do, that's going to catch her attention because you weren't able to do that before. Right? But just like losing a little bit of weight, for a man to prove to a woman that something is working, you need more than that. For a woman, it's different. We have such a hard time losing that, of course, when you saw me 3 months later, you could see something was happening there because we struggle to lose. You guys don't struggle. It's disgusting.
Okay.
Can you tell I'm bitter?
Okay. The next topic I want to tackle, like in this line of thinking, like, and it is probably my case right now. Having so many things to do, like you see like the mountain that's ahead of a bunch of fun stuff. Like I like, oh, sometimes fun, sometimes boring, but like, let's say you have a bunch of stuff, and like it's the same like idea as comfortable. Like the couch and the TV seems way
Okay.
easier, and
Procrastination is what you're talking about.
Procrastination,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good word. So how do we really?
Oh yeah, I procrastinate. Oh jeez, it's horrible.
So yeah, I have a bunch of stuff I would like to do. I would like to tackle, but like TV and couch seems way more comfortable.
Can I just point out that the scooter is not even close to started to put together?
No, but I feel your problem your problem is different in the sense that you have just too much. You don't have time to do everything. Like for me, I will have like a good 2 hours free in front of me, and I'm gonna sit on the couch and watch a movie instead of doing maybe tackling my finances, doing my budget, doing a course that I do, working on videos. Yeah.
Okay, but honestly, that's
But
me.
that's-
That's me. So
how do we solve this?
so here's what's funny is that I was watching somebody talk about this recently, and I can't remember who it was, so I'm sorry, but they were talking about like things that are urgent but yet like not important versus things that are important
Okay.
but not urgent or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, and this whole idea that we tend to do things that are urgent but not important.
Okay.
Like, and I'm not saying that you guys are not important, but honestly, I make sure my videos go out, but yet my taxes are not done, and April 30th is gone. So like, there are certain things that you would say, well, shouldn't have been the other way around, Violet? But like, these things have such a deadline on them, and I want to give you information at the right time. But then like that thing, I can kind of like not think about it. So then I don't think about it, even though it's important, but it's not urgent because technically I have till June. Technically.
Okay.
Right? So it's like I play that game with myself. What I eat for me is urgent.
Okay.
So I don't procrastinate on that. Right? Because again, but it's the way that I talk to myself. If I eat it, it's building me for the next 7 years. To me, that's urgent. Right? So I'm not going to eat the cookie. I'm not going to, like, it's not going to happen. If I'm hungry, I get a meal. This is the way I've trained my brain to think, because this to me is urgent. Compared to like other things where, I'm trying to think of other things that I'm supposed to do. The laundry, you know, like as long as there's clothes in the cupboard, Violet's not doing laundry, right? You know, like it's like there's other things that where I probably could, I just buy more clothes, right? Is that the right thing to do? Probably not, but it's what I do.
If you have to do laundry too often, you buy okay.
No, but it's the truth.
That's
Like
a good trick.
it's the truth. Like I'm much more likely to just buy something. But and it's not right. I'm just saying. But so one of the ways I get around that, so how I help myself is that things that I know are important but they're not quite urgent, I put them on my schedule.
Okay, yeah. That's right.
Because when this in my schedule, I'm telling myself it's urgent, even though I know it's not. So like the truth is, if I would have put your taxes in my schedule, I would have done it. I just didn't put it in my schedule.
Okay. That's where I want to go because I tried that I started that actually a couple weeks ago. Having a plan for your evenings actually make it like much, and I'm not saying like it has to be filled with 4 hours of just productive, boring stuff. Like just plan your hour of TV and plan your hour where you have to tackle your finances or your taxes, and plan an hour of your hobby, and have a clear idea where or of where you want to go, so you don't waste like the 4 hours every day in front of the TV. Because I can do that. I can watch like movies good. Oh, I'm gonna watch another movie, and I just like realize that I spend 4 hours in front of TV doing not really productive stuff.
See, like for me, it's 4 hours on the computer, like either researching topics like for this, or like writing up the next like idea I'm gonna like. That's where my time goes. Like again, but you know why? The other reason it goes there is fun. I find this stuff fun to like try to plan out, and like, so again, I think that's the other thing too, where you talk about your comfort thing, like that's fun to me. For you, TV is fun for you. You know, like, or even, I mean, recently I've given a lot of time. So you see, talking about priority, like I gave a lot of time to my 3D printing, right? And like trying to make sure that everything was going to print properly, and like trying to dial in the printer and all this stuff. Like this is a new game I have going on with myself. And it's not urgent, but for me it's important because I find it fun.
Okay.
And I spend all day working, and I work hard helping people. When I get home, I want to have fun, right?
Yeah.
And I could equally see my evening going to being outside with Kyler, or my evening going to like talking on the phone with my mom, all right? Like anything that I find fun, I'll do it.
Then it would be even more important to put in a schedule the things that are not fun. I'm thinking, for example, like I got myself into being on the administrative console of the condo, and I just like so that's something I procrastinate. So let us know, guy, like in the comments, what are you doing to tackle like the boring stuff in your life? Maybe we can share it after.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know. Like, I mean, we talked about scheduling things. Is there another idea, another way that you make sure that it gets done besides just pushing through and doing it?
Yeah. Which is not necessarily better, because like pushing through something, it's not going to make you happier. You still need to find fun in those activities that are like, and the same goes for work. Like you know, like at work, like I tend to prioritize stuff that either like there are meetings and I have no choice, but I did realize like not so long ago that even at work I have a bunch of fun stuff to do that I could be tackling, but there's no space in my schedule to put those things. So like
but that's the interesting thing, is that you're saying you actually have fun things. So like the question I have for you is, they're fun, but in your mind they're not important, or you would tackle them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, I think, what makes us struggle, is that many of us don't necessarily see what food we eat as being important. What we see as important is managing our hunger. What we see as important is managing our comfort. But we don't actually think about, like, is there a difference between having steak all the time and having fish in there once in a while? And like those omegas that we're going to get from the fish, and like the iodine that we get from certain fish, and I can't remember which ones, but like all the other things that we get from eating fish, like I know for sure I don't prioritize eating fish as much as I should, or even eggs, because again, iodine from eggs and like other things that like, so do we actually take the time to stop and think about like why we're eating, what we're eating, and make what we're eating as important as just solving the hunger or solving the boredom or solving the whatever other emotional whatever we're trying to solve?
Okay, so taking care of yourself, do a self-check, should be important and urgent, like all the time. Like it should be the first thing that you need to question some stuff you do.
And it's funny because I do think in terms of taking care of myself emotionally, like that's front of mind, and I do that very regularly. Food wise, I do it regularly. But like, I mean, if you think about like this past week, did I do any exercise? So like to get my heart going and like, you know, be stronger, and not really. Right? So like I feel like there's certain ones where like it's not urgent, so I'm not pushing on it, but it's important and it should be done. It should be happening. So maybe it's another something I need to put in my calendar.
Stuff to put in your calendar.
There's gonna need to be a follow-up video from this to see like, did she really do it? I'm sitting here thinking I should do it, and as I'm sitting here thinking, I didn't grab my phone. So like, you know what I mean? Like we have to see if I actually do it. If I was trying to quit something like alcohol or drugs, we would have a support group, right? We would become part of a group and understand that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. Although the world is my support group when it comes to sugar addiction, they don't know that they're supposed to be my support group. So having like a spouse that understands does help. Like honestly, like the fact that you are doing what I'm doing does make this easier. And like when we're together, it's like, think about when we like Christmas and all the holidays and the birthdays and whatever, like we're there together. It's so much easier for us because we're together to choose to eat just the healthy things and to not touch the chips and whatever, because we have each other. As like Violet's not doing it either, Patrick's not doing it either. So it's like, you know, compared to like if you're the only person in your family that's doing it. So I do feel like, again, going back to how could he support his wife and how could she support him? Well, at the moment, I don't know if she's able to support him yet, but like if she does struggle with being different than everybody else, like just knowing he's doing it too can be helpful, right? But I think the other thing is that we can find other people like us, right? Like, I mean, for example, online. There's lots of people doing keto. There are Facebook groups. There are other groups of people that you can join and just talk about your experience and share. Even if I'm not doing full-fledged keto, if I'm doing low carb, we can still support each other. So there's a part of this where it's like being somewhat willing to talk about what you're doing so that you find your like-minded people. And whether what you're trying to change is work-related, food-related, relationship-related, like in order to find like-minded people so that we can have the support that we need, we have to talk about what we're doing, right? There's like kind of no way around it. If I don't talk about what I'm doing, there's no way that you can support me in what I'm trying to accomplish. If you would like to help us to remain independent and not need sponsors, there are some links in the description below.
Another way you can help us is to share the video to as many people as possible. This is really appreciated. And like and subscribe and ring the bell.
There's some videos on the screen right there that are going to help you to improve your health. Wellness Warriors, always happy that you guys come back. Everybody who's new, welcome. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition.
Talk to you next week.
Can't wait to talk to you next week.